Ahoy, fellow modelers! Frankie Day back again on YouTube. Today on YouTube, I have part number 6 of my hercules restorational build. So far, I should have had this thing done by today, folks. I was hoping I could have had it done last night, but I kid you not, fellas. I got almost 20 hours in a paint job on this airplane so far. At 1/48 scale, this is a whopping big model, as you can see. Anybody has one of these in your stash, intends to build one of these, be prepared to use a lot of paint, and one thing most of all, lots of time. This airplane allows lots of time and plenty of it. I should post one more video by tonight, and this will be the complete update build report of Frankie Days hercules restoration build. This airplane is starting to look like it was brand new 30 years ago, 28 years ago it was. And all that's left until it's totally complete is I got to apply the props. Props got to be all painted up, which I got the cuffs painted black. Next I got to mask off the cuffs. I paint them aluminum plate and paint the tips, then install the props to the engine nacelles. I got the transparency's got to be done next, but the transparency will not be added on this model until I finish giving a gloss coat, a Krylon clear. Once the Krylon clear has been applied, I can go ahead and do the decal work. I cut me up a bunch of 3/32 wing walk strips using black decal paper. This will simulate the wing walks which will be done on the upper surfaces of the aircraft. And once all the decals have been applied, once dried, I'll go ahead and give a shot of dull coat to dull it out. And lastly would be the installation of the props and the transparencies. And she's all done, fellas, ready to wait for my wife's coffee table. As will be his permanent tarmac for display. And I just got done touching up the camouflage gray, which I used using Federal Color Charts on my Federal Color Charts binder. I made me a batch of camouflage gray by using white, black, and just a touch of red. Boy, my back's starting to hurt right now, man, being hunched over in this thing. And I just finished applying a touch up on the gray color on the other sides, also the leading edge of the wings and feather it in. And I also applied the auxiliary fuel tanks. The auxiliary fuel tanks didn't need to be restored, folks. So actually, the paint work on the auxiliary fuel tanks is an existing paint job that was done 28 years ago. So I felt though that it had no need of being refinished. So I cleaned them up and drilled holes through the pylons and made sure they attached to the wing using 5-minute epoxy. And it's pretty strong. I went and painted the radome from the nose. I masked that off and airbrushed that flat black. By using the flat black the same, I dulled it up by using a little silver, a little gray. I painted the tires. And that's complete. Probably just mostly all the painting of the aircraft was completely 100% done with the exception of the props. All I got to do now is once I get the aircraft finished, I'm going to go ahead and mask off the cuffs and airbrush it with my aluminum plate I have. Then paint the prop tips and install to the nacelles. And once I get this airplane completed, folks, I'm going to go back to the Globemaster on Warren's Cold War classic aircraft group build. I'll go ahead and do that. So far, I haven't done nothing on my Globemaster yet. So once I finish the hercules, old fat boy over here, I'm going to go ahead and start paying my undivided attention to Warren's group build. Get my Globemaster all sanded down and make a video of that. So I've got one more video on this aircraft. It'll be done probably latter part of the evening. And so I might be able to get Warren's group build started by tomorrow morning, so I can start fresh with fresh eyeballs. And that'll be there. And I've been looking on YouTube, see if anybody's got any builds coming up. Here's a few of you fellas out there. I'm not too keen on figures and cars and science fiction space models and stuff though. But if I ever attempted to use a model like space models, like the Empire and stuff like that, I'll go ahead and do the Enterprise and Star Trek. Okay, folks, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We'll get a little closer to what I've done. And as you can see, the gray, camouflage gray has been applied in Vietnam vintage. All along the other belly of the fuselage on. It took me 2 hours to paint that fuselage. That's only 2 hours, folks. I ain't including the wings and the nacelles. The undercarriage has been done, as you can see. Auxiliary fuel tanks have been installed using the existing paint job I've done 28 years ago. The props are next, which will be inserted on there once the airplane is completely finished. And I'll turn around a little bit. Excuse me, not use the Lady Susan, folks, but this is my styrofoam dummy helper right here that I use. I'm going to have to use this just to hold my airplane down when I paint my Krylon gloss when I apply the decals. As you can see on the left side of the fuselage, it's done the same thing as the starboard side. And paint job is pretty the same all over. I try to keep as uniform as I can. I went over this morning, did some touch up on the medium green and dark green, and also the tan color paint that they used in that scheme. And lastly, like I said, I painted the aircraft gray. Door right there is open, and the crew figure they give you. They give you 4 crew figures: pilot, co-pilot, either a flight engineer or a navigator, and you got a cargo master right there. Got my hand. There he is, upside down. And he goes right that door right there. He's walking through that door, the crew entry right there. Gave me installed lastly once I get it. Here's my props right there. I painted the cuffs black, and from the outside of the cuffs to the block blades will be all aluminum plate. Some Hercules props are all black with yellow cuffs. But I'll go ahead and use aluminum because they start to use aluminum on there. And you can see that the cargo ramp back there is open in full position. And that coat hanger works really well. It's not stronger than that flimsy plastic, because that flimsy plastic was all bowed and bent when it fell down. Looks like a brand new airplane, fellas. Looks like nothing ever happened to it. I'll zoom in a little more. And lots of paint, guys. Lots of paint and lots of time. I'm really happy with the results of this model. The portholes that will be filled in with Arlene's tacky glue, which is the same form that you use on Micro Clear. Well, fellas, that ends the video. We'll catch you on the next video. Happy modeling, and thanks for tuning in. And bye, fellas. Take care. May God speed. Bye, boys.